first exercise, we're going to be going over the plank. The plank is a common isometric core exercise. The major muscle groups for this exercise are the rectus abdominis, internal and external obliques, transverse abdominis, iliopsoas, your latissimus dorsi, erector spinae group, gluteus maximus, and quadratus lumboris. This exercise not only helps strengthen the core, but also helps build muscle for spinal stabilization, which can help avoid injury when doing your common activities in daily life. So some common flaws with the plank that are mostly seen, especially in individuals who are new to working out or just performing this exercise in general, sagging in your lower back. People tend to have more of a curve in their lower back and they let it dip. The second most common would be lifting your butt up. So people tend to go in kind of like a V shaped and they'll lift their butt up in the air. The third most common is putting your head down. You want to keep a neutral spine alignment, so keep your head up and straight across. And the fourth one is keeping your back again in that stable alignment straight across. When doing this, to test if they are in a straight alignment or not, you can put a dowel or PVC pipe down across their back and it should hold steady without moving. The last one is most people forget to breathe during this exercise. Constant breathing is good not only for muscles but just to make sure that you don't get fatigued out too early. So the proper way to perform a plank would be going down, arms like this, 90 degrees, straight under your shoulders, on your toes together, and hold with your head up like this. So to fix the flaws, an instructor just can go right over them and just move them in the proper positioning so they know how it feels to be in the proper form, and then they can make their own adjustments later on, whether they work out alone or with an instructor on to have the proper forms for the plank. Some variations for the plank would be a kneeling plank. So that would be when you're on your knees and you come down like this, activating your core the whole time. Another variation would be a one-leg kneeling plank. So just take off the other leg. Makes it a little more difficult, more core stabilization, and more stabilization in your upper back and lower back. A final variation of it could be a one-arm plank or a side-arm plank if you want. So for a side-arm plank, you're going to have the individual go on their side like this, come up like that, and just keep a straight back, straight head, and that's a side plank. And those are the different variations of a plank. Our next exercise that we're going to be going over is the squat. For this video purpose, we're only going to be going over the bodyweight squat due to not having gym equipment in my dorm room. So the squat is a common strength training pushing exercise that mimics many movements that we perform in our daily life. The major muscle groups include your hip extensors, which would be your gluteus maximus, your hamstring groups, and your adductor mangus. Your knee extensors, which would be your quadriceps, so the vastus group, and your rectus femoris. Your spinal erectors, and your latissimus dorsi, your traps, as well as your abdominals. Many people consider squats to be a leg-only exercise, but in fact, it's a full-body exercise. Another reason why it helps improve acts of daily living is because it is a full-body exercise, and you're learning how to control your body in time and space, so your proprioception of where you are, as well as making sure you don't get any injuries later on in life by improving strength in not only your legs, but your back and your abdominals. Most times that we go to the bathroom, we're going in a squatting position, or when we drop a pen, we squat down to get it. So it improves our acts of daily living. So most common flaws for the squat would be your breathing techniques, your bar position, your spine position, your knee and hip and back angles, as well as your feet being flat on the ground and your heels being down. For breathing technique, it's suggested that you do a technique called the Valsalva maneuver, which would be taking a deep breath in or bearing down, which will increase your intrathecal pressure and put more pressure on your back, causing it to get into a neutral position. The bar position, whether you have a high bar, which would be on the shoulders, or a low bar position, depends on the angle of which you're going to be torqued for your back. So bar position is very, very important for body position, especially in your spine, to not put any extra pressures on it, which can cause injury. Again, with the neutral spine, you also want to make sure you have a tight back to stabilize the spine itself to take off any extra pressures that may cause injury. For your angles of your knee, you want to get down to a 90-degree angle as well as at your hips while keeping a straight back. So when instructing someone, you want to have it as they are sitting down, which would be one of the first phases of teaching someone to do a squat, is you can have them sit down and just get used to sitting. The final flaw is feet positioning. You want shoulder width apart, feet down, heels pressed into the ground, not coming up. So a proper squat should look like this. Notice how my back is straight, my knees are at 90 degrees, as well as my hips. Concentrating on body positioning to fix postural issues, you can have either a trainer tell the individual what they are doing wrong, or if you are alone, you can use a mirror, which is in every gym, to look at your body positioning to make sure you're in the right way. Any other flaws can cause major injuries to the body, because most of the time when you are performing this, you are adding the bar with weight. Other variations of this exercise include band squats, which you would put the bands around your feet, hold them up here, and just use that as some resistance while coming up. Another one would be a box squat. So you go on a box while squatting to increase the range of motion that you're going. And finally, you can have forward squats, which would be not the bar across the back of your neck on your shoulders, but resting in the front on the shoulders. And those are the other variations of the squat.